Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bundesliga show. We are back for our first fantasy draft, our first fantasy show of the 2025-26 season. It's always a big show. I'm always dead thankful to be joined by my partner in crime, Rune across the way. Obviously from Bulinews. How the devil are you? How's your summer been? Are you looking forward to this new season of ours?
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the new season ahead. It's been a long summer. We had the Club World Cup, but let's be honest, it couldn't really be compared to a Bundesliga weekend. And now I think we've waited long enough, and we get a little taste of what's to come this weekend already, before the big start next week. So looking forward to that a lot. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Been a while since we've been on a show together because of various different things happening in one's life. We're dead happy to be back. Really excited for this. Welcome everyone. Enjoy the show. Get involved in the comments. Mark's already checking in, saying looking forward to this one, and also Elon saying good evening, saying happy to join. Jacob as well. Good evening to you. Lovely stuff. Really good to see some familiar and fresh faces. So we're going to get stuck into it. We'll do a little bit of admin to start with, as we always do. Then we're going to go through the rule changes. There are some quite interesting and key rule changes for this season. We'll go through that pretty easily and quickly, hopefully, and then get straight into the drafts that Rune has been working very hard on. We'll do that position by position. So goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, and striker positions. So, take your time. Don't be shy. Get your questions in, and we'll try and run through basically every question that gets asked as we go through. Left-footed, good to see you back as well. Hope you're doing well. Really excited for this one. Just to get us started, the usuals. Please do leave a thumbs up on this video. We had a great reception to this video this time last year. And as obviously we're fresh as the Bundesliga show, would mean the world to us if we could get some thumbs up, some great comments, and some subscribers of this. That'd be awesome. Do make sure to check in with Bulinews. Obviously, Rune's fantastic, Bundesliga site. All the best, Bundesliga content you can find on there. They're currently doing season previews at the moment, which are awesome. Some fantasy content already coming out. Loads and loads of stuff, long reads, the lot. You can see it there over on Bulinews on all socials. Make sure you find us on social as well. X, Insta, Threads, Blue Sky, the lot. Find us at the Bundesliga show as well. And just before, again, we get going, mentioned this last week in our first show. We've got an awesome promotion running at the moment, thanks to our good friends at Covert Football Trips. So the details of that are running at the bottom of your screen right now. But basically, with a special code of ours we've got, which is TBS50, you can get yourself a discount on a German mystery weekend. Absolutely awesome. Thanks to Rich for setting this all up for us. So make sure you head over to the link in the description of this video and you can get that on checkout. I'll make sure I remember to say that at the end of the video as well. So less of the admin in terms of just really excited to get going. So Rune, let's talk rule changes. Quite a few interesting ones. So if you're able to, in a relative summary, kind of go through some of the major highlights, because we've got a few things like we've got a streak, which is something interesting in regards to going on the app. We've got now fluctuating player prices for this year rather than static. And a few other scoring alterations. So if you'd be so kind for the lovely viewers and listeners, kind of run through some of the details of that.
I've had a look at some of the new features and the changes in the last couple of days. So I'm just going to mention the most important stuff. Then we also have an article on Bulinews about it that you can check afterwards in case you want to look at it in more detail. Also, you can look at the rules in the app. As you said, Rory, dynamic price changes, that's one of the main changes, and one that I'm personally thrilled about, because players used to have fluctuating value, and that was actually a big part of the game to pick up players before most other players did, and then be able to like benefit from that, spotting breakout stars early, and that will be the case again. You will be able to benefit from that this year. I thought last year we saw a lot of similar teams, because every time a player did well, everyone could basically just pick him up the week after, and then a lot of the teams ended up looking like the same. So I think this year that will be an interesting change. Looking forward to seeing how that will work. I mean, we don't know the details about the changes, how exactly the players are going to rise or fall in value, but it's going to be based on their performances, and it's going to be from one week to another. And then the updated point system, it's quite similar to last year, in a lot of ways, but goalkeepers have been boosted and strikers have been boosted, which makes a lot of sense because defenders and midfielders were far superior to goalkeepers and strikers last year. Especially strikers really needed a boost. I think they used to be, before the change that were implemented ahead of last season, they used to be really important. But I think they were nerfed a bit too much last season. So makes a lot of sense to reward strikers a bit more from scoring goals, for making goal attempts, winning duels, and so on. And with goalkeepers, they get 5 points more per save, and instead of getting 3 points from making a long pass, they now get 6 points. So that should help goalkeepers as well. We actually saw a lot of teams last year playing without a starting goalkeeper because people would rather spend that money elsewhere, and of course that shows that something is wrong with the game. So it makes a lot of sense. And then the streak feature, interesting one as well. Basically, if you log in daily, you will be able to get a boost to your transfer budget, and that that doesn't apply now, but once the game starts, once the season gets rolling, every day you log in, you sort of build up a boost every week, and it's all about getting a streak up and running. So obviously they want people to check the app every day, and this is a way of trying to do that. So could be a big change as well, just to remember, like checking the app once per day, even just opening it briefly and shutting it down again, may mean a lot in the long run. And then another pretty significant change is the fact that you can now redo transfers, and I think that's a great change as well, because how it used to be when you made your transfers, you couldn't roll them back, and sometimes that could be quite annoying because you would always have to wait for like the 1 hour before the first game and wait and see how the lineup looked before you made your transfers. But now you can make them in advance and then potentially roll them back and change your transfers if something isn't how you expected it to be. But I think that this is a good change, and I don't really understand why they didn't do it before. So about time. I think those 4 points are probably the major things. Let me know if I forgot something, Roy, but I think that's the major changes.
No, that's exactly everything that I had noted down to talk about in terms of alterations and rule changes. I think the maximum that a person can gain with the streak feature is 0.5 of a million. So based on what the prices look like early doors, it could be invaluable to players across the world, basically. So it'll be interesting to see how much people can follow that. how much your memory is to log on to the app every single day. Obviously, in the busy world that and lives that we all have. But yeah, they're definitely the rules that I think we wanted to cover early doors. So yeah, we're just going to get straight into our draft. I say the royal hour, because obviously what Rune's worked up for us, obviously as the expert in chief from a fantasy point of view. But yeah, just before we do, obviously, if you are new to the channel and to Bundesliga Fantasy and you're wanting to get involved, do make sure that you join our league, because of course we wouldn't want to have a show without having a league. And I believe, without actually checking this, it is called the Bulinews and Over the Bar Fantasy League. I think if you search that, it's join our. There we go. And yeah, I think it's probably. I'm going to be biased. Rune will probably be quite biased, but this is definitely the most competitive Bundesliga fantasy league going. The standard of players that we have in it is really, really high. So it's a brilliant way to test yourselves. We've got some great players, including Rune and many others. So yeah, make sure you join us. It's a great community, and yeah, it's always good fun to compare notes on where we all finish. I don't think I'd probably want to share where I finished last season, mind. But less of that. It's all about a new season and new points to be gained. So less of that and more of our draft. So we're going to start with our goalkeepers, and I've got that on screen for you all right now. And Rune, let's run through your 2 picks, and I think that will directly link into a question from Elon, which we can pick up after your explanation of your 2 goalkeeper picks.
Yeah, and before I begin, I just want to say that you can put together your starting team in different ways, and the sort of tactic I've picked for this one is to pick basically 11 starters and then have a bit of bench fodder at the beginning, 1 million players, and then spend the whole budget on my starters. Another way of doing it would be to spread out the funds a bit more and have like 15 players who are all starters, but of course you would have to limit the starting 11, and you wouldn't be able to get all the premium assets that you would ideally want. So yeah, that's basically 2 ways of playing the game, and I'm not sure if I'll use this tactic myself, but if I do, I think this is a pretty solid team, and a lot of these players will be in my team when the season begins. And first up, the goalkeepers, and the starting goalkeeper I picked, the one I'm certain about starting is Ramash from Heidenheim, who I remember him, of course, from Eintracht Frankfurt, where he used to play, and also he spent the second half of last season at FC Copenhagen in my home country, Denmark. So I watched him quite a lot actually last season, and obviously he played for the capital side, the big side here in Denmark, but he made an instant impact after joining Copenhagen, and looked really good, I think. Really solid goalkeeper, great reflexes, and way too good for the Superliga. So it makes sense that he's back in Germany now, and now he plays. He's contracted to Dortmund, and he's been sent out on loan at Heidenheim, and we know that he's going to start the season as their first choice option. Decision that didn't go down that well with Kevin Müller, their long time first choice option, but he has to accept the situation and the fact that Ramash will be their starting goalkeeper from the start of the season. Mm-hmm. And I took a look at last season's the statistics for saves, and Müller was up there among the guys with the most saves. And also, I think this season will be no different. Heidenheim will get a lot of shots against them, and I think Ramash will be quite busy in goal. And as we just talked about before, goalkeepers get just a few more points now for making saves. So he should get to make plenty of saves, and I think at 5 million he's just that, like 1 or 2 million cheaper than the other cheap options in goal that we know will start. So a quite good option from the start of the game, I think. And then I've combined him with Daniel Peretz from HSV, who's quite similarly also moved out on loan just from Bayern to Hamburg, and he'll be hoping to get more playing time at the newly promoted club, but we don't know for sure if he'll play from the start of the season. It's a close race between him and Daniel Hoyer Fernandes, and the situation is at the moment that Perez was given the opportunity to play in the final preseason friendly. Fernandes will play the DFB Pokal. From how I understand it, he'll get to make a good impression there, and then a final decision will be made after that. That's what the HSV coach Poulsen said. So hopefully he'll give us some clarity after the DFB Pokal about who he plans to use as his starting goalkeeper in the Bundesliga. But at the moment, Perez costs just 1.1 million. So I mean, just 0.1 million more than like just a regular 1 million goalkeeper who we know isn't going to start. So probably worth the bet. And even if he's not the first choice option, I think could still make sense just to spend that 0.1 extra million just to get him in, because he's way closer to playing time than all other goalkeepers in that price category.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for any more detail or questions on goalkeepers, obviously if you want to ask during this show, by all means do, and we'll come to it. Hopefully that helps you a little bit, Elon, on the HSV goalkeeping situation right now. But I think, obviously, Rune, you've also done some deep dives on Bulinews, haven't you, in regards to positions and goalkeepers. An article I was reading earlier on. So for more detail, make sure you jump over to Bulinews and check out Rune's articles in that regards, mentioning all the kind of other regular shot stoppers that we all kind of like to see, which is slightly more premium value, the likes of, Gregor Kobel and, Bauman's a bit of a fantasy hero as well, and things like that. Make sure you check that one out. So over to our defenders. Make sure you do get your questions in now for the defenders, midfielders, and strikers. Obviously, where the big money is. Don't be shy. We'll take any question that you're thinking. Rune, your picks are now on screen for the draft of defenders. So again, walk us through your thoughts on your starting three defenders.
Yeah, I also just want to mention one other detail actually that I just forgot before. The first international break is after match day 2, so you only need to look ahead to look at those first 2 match days when putting together your squad. That can also be helpful to know that. And one player that I've lined up with a good opening fixture at least is Kevin Dix from Gladbach. And he's another player I know well from Denmark. He used to play for FC Copenhagen, and he's looked very impressive from what I've seen in preseason for Gladbach. And he is a centre back, but also capable of playing as a fullback. And he is sort of, I think you can sort of compare him to Bensebaini in the sense that he scores plenty of goals actually, surprisingly many goals, given he's a defender, and he's also capable of taking penalties, as we saw for Gladbach in preseason. He actually scored a penalty for them, and I expect him to actually be the main penalty taker, at least while Kleindienst is out. Probably ahead of Stöger when it comes to taking penalties. So obviously that's a big plus. His price is quite low. They're playing HSV at home in the opener, Gladbach. So I think it looks like a really, really good option for the price. Then my second pick is Daniel Svensson from Dortmund. And I think he was one of the breakthrough stars in the second half of last season. I was really surprised with how quickly he settled in at Dortmund after moving from the Danish Superliga as well. Actually, he made an instant impact and immediately become really important for them at the left wing back position. So really good. He has a really good left foot. great at getting forward as well, swinging in crosses, also capable of scoring a goal occasionally, as we saw at the Club World Cup, for example. So given all that, I think his price is actually quite low, 8.7 million. Not a lot for what he offers. And then finally, Jonathan Tah, another player whose price is way too low. It makes no sense that he's priced at 9.4 million.
Surprising.
He's been brought in as the new leader of Bayern's defense. He's going to get a lot of playing time alongside Upamecano at the back. Tah and Upamecano will be their main duo, centre back duo going forward. So for 9.4 million, I think he's too cheap not to bring in. The only reason of not bringing him in would be because we wanted to prioritize other Bayern players, and you wanted like an extra midfielder in addition to Olise, for example. But other than that, I think 9.4 million makes a lot of sense to get Tah in. He's a good passer, gets a lot of points from passes made. Actually, even though he's big, his passing accuracy is really high. It used to be that way, at least at Leverkusen, and I expect it to be no different at Bayern. And also, obviously, he's going to get a lot of points from winning duels. So, yeah, another good player for the price. I think I've not spent that much on my defense this time. I've not decided to go for someone like Grimaldo, for example, who I usually go with. But yeah, they have a new coach and a new project there, and I think we need to wait and see how that goes. So yeah, those three defenders I think are all really solid and should do well in the opening match day, and then you can bring in 1 million players just to keep on the bench if you decide to use the tactic I talked about earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for going through those, Rune. Yeah, I think obviously there's again, I'm probably going to end up repeating myself a lot in this preseason content, but because of the great deal of change that we're seeing this summer in regards to player exits and incomings and head coach incomings and outgoings, it does feel like a bit of a fresh start, and so it does feel like where we are with fantasy is quite new. And therefore quite challenging to be able to get your team set up really well to start with, and hence why 3 really solid starters that set up well is something quite important to have. Just want to come to a question from Elon. Thank you for asking this. How will the Dortmund defense look after Süle's injury? Quite thin, basically, I think is the answer. Rune, their defense is very similar to last season. Obviously, Svensson and Jan Kauto have been made permanent signings over the summer so far as fullback options. With Ben Sebaini as an option there, but then in the centre, of course, you've really only got Schlotterbeck and Anton, maybe with a bit of emergency cover from someone like Julian Ryerson. But yeah, it doesn't look overly strong, I would say. So I think, the Dortmund, in terms of defenders from Dortmund, Rune, I don't suppose, did you look at anyone else apart from Svensson for these first 2 games? Maybe Schlotterbeck, now that I think he had to come back from injury, didn't he?
I looked at Jan Kauto actually, because Süle's injury most likely means that Ryerson is going to move back to the right centre back position, and then Jan Kauto is basically the only right wing back they have. So I think he's also very attacking minded, so a really good alternative to Svensson, and I actually think he's a bit cheaper. Schlotterbeck is still injured and will be out for some time. Emre Can is injured as well at the moment and will not be ready for the start of the season. He's also capable of playing as a centre back. So, as you say, they have some problems right now with injuries with both Emre Can, Schlotterbeck, and now also Süle out. So I think we can assume that they will bring in someone for the back. They need to strengthen that back line to get at least one more player in. But right now, I'd say, not a lot of other options. So probably be Ryerson, Anton, and Benzebaini, three-man back line, and then Jan Kauto as a right wing back, and Svensson at the left wing back position. That seems pretty settled, at least at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just before we move on from defenders, just want to kind of throw out a question to you, Rune. Just obviously you mentioned another fan favourite, especially from the last couple seasons, is Grimaldo. Any other players that you seriously considered that, are kind of war horses of the fantasy game, the likes of, a Mitchell Weiser comes to mind, and players like that. Anyone getting honourable shouts from you this evening?
Yeah, unfortunately, Weiser is long-term injured. Otherwise, I would probably have mentioned him. That's a real shame. He's a player I'd really looked at because Horst Steffen, Weiser's new coach, actually said that he planned to use Weiser as a winger, and he would probably be a defender in the game. And yeah, that's always a plus. Someone playing in a more advanced role. So that was a real shame. I was gutted to hear about that injury. But yeah, I think Grimaldo is always worth considering, but then again, as I said earlier, I'm going to wait and see how things go with Ten Hag at the helm and all the changes at the club. Rasmus Christensen from Frankfurt had a really good season last year. Really energetic right back and capable of scoring goals and also winning a lot of duels. Really involved for Frankfurt. So he's a good option, I think, at 12 million or something like that. And then we have someone like Anthony Kasi, for example, who we saw last season from Mainz. Was really good with the new scoring system, consistently picked up a lot of points because it clearly the scoring system suits his strengths really well. So he's another player I think I'd mention. Mittelstedt from Stuttgart. Also always a good fantasy option, but he's just too expensive for me at the moment. I'd rather spend that money elsewhere. I think he's priced at 17.8 million or something like that, nearly 18 million. So you can get two Jonathan Tars for one Mittelstedt, and that doesn't make any sense to me. So I'd rather spend that money elsewhere, but a good option nevertheless.
Yeah, absolutely. Some good mentions there. Thank you for going through that. Okay, on we go on our merry way now onto the midfielders that Rune has picked out here. So yeah, some real chunky big picks to run through here. So again, obviously, whilst you're watching, again, any questions, pop them into the comments, and we'll go through them once Rune has described his rationale behind these 5 players.
Yeah, I've decided to go with 5 midfielders based on last season because as we saw a lot of players eventually chose to play with 5 in midfield partly because there are lots of good options in midfield, but also because it works well with the point system. A lot of midfielders were doing consistently well. So yeah, I think 5 midfielders or at least 4. Makes a lot of sense, even though we don't have as many premium options this year. Musiala is out for a while, and Wirtz is gone. So Simons is probably heading to England as well. So not as many premium options, but nevertheless a lot of excellent picks. And one of them is Frank Honorat from Gladbach, who I think he was a bit unlucky with injuries last season. Still managed to contribute to 13 goals in 19 Bundesliga appearances, and that's actually quite insane. With all due respect to Gladbach, really solid for a winger who plays for Gladbach, especially given he's not in penalties or anything. So a player who's usually really involved, and he had a really good partnership with Kleindienst, swung in crosses for the big man in the center, and usually put them away. Unfortunately, Kleindienst is injured at the moment, but I still think Honorat should be able to make a good impact. They've brought in Tabakovic, Gladbach, who is sort of a similar player, not as good as Kleindienst, but I think he'll do the job. And as I mentioned earlier, Gladbach have a really good opening fixture against HSV at home. So that's a game I'd target. Also, Stöger is a bit more expensive. Couldn't afford him with the other picks I made, but a great alternative from Gladbach. And you could also potentially double up on Gladbach in midfield. The only issue is that they're playing Stuttgart, if I remember correctly, in the second game. So away. So that's a pretty difficult one. I wouldn't want free Gladbach players for that game. And then moving on to Vincenzo Grifo, who's fantasy favorite of mine, long time fantasy favorite. And there was a lot of discussion about him last year actually, and whether he was worth his price tag and whether he was still as good a fantasy option as he used to be. Probably wasn't, but still had a very solid season. 8 goals and 11 assists. That's still very good. And with Doan gone, I can imagine him stepping up even more. Freiburg also have a great opening schedule. They're playing Augsburg at home and Köln away, if I remember correctly. So 2 great games there, I think. And obviously Grifo is on all set pieces as well, and that's a big plus.
Yeah.
And the same can be said for Nadim Amiri from Mainz. Who's also a player I love, as you know, Rory. It's just an overall excellent footballer, I think, when he doesn't pick up red cards at least. And I think he was probably the key architect for Mainz last season. He's just involved in everything they do, basically. If you don't know who to pass the ball to, you could always pass it to Amiri, and he'll usually find something to do with it on all set pieces for Mainz. And I think they're hosting Köln in the opener, so great game for them there. And it's difficult to imagine Amiri not doing well in that game. So 200 points at least would be what you expect from a player like Amiri there. And then I've gone with Joe Bellingham, who I was actually quite impressed with the impact he made at the Club World Cup. A player at that young age, stepping into a new team, very different from what he came from, and there's a language barrier, and just felt like didn't seem like he needed that much time to get used to everything. And the way it looks, he will be operating just in front of 2 other central midfielders. So he will probably be given a pretty attacking role for Dortmund. I think if he's operating as a box-to-box midfielder for them, he should get a lot of points automatically, just from being involved, winning duels and making passes, also taking shots at goal. And Dortmund also have an excellent opening schedule. So I think if you want a Dortmund midfielder, he's a great shout. And then finally, Michael Olise he's a must-have player at this stage. Even with that price tag, it is a hefty price tag, but he's worth every penny. After his insane first season in the Bundesliga, also he followed it up with great performances at the Club World Cup. He's also looked really sharp in their preseason friendlies. So he's a player you need to have from the start of the game, I think. Your go-to star man in midfield week after week from the start of the game at least.
Yeah, for sure. He's going to be a great player, great asset to the Bundesliga, and of course to the Champions buy-in. So looking forward to seeing how he goes. Great explanations for your 5 picks there, Rune. Some good classic players, but maybe a couple of new ones as well. So let's dive into some questions that we've had whilst you've been running through those. So let's pick these up now. Elon asking, do you think Doan can make an impact in Frankfurt like he did in Freiburg? That's a really good question. And yeah, as a signing, I quite like this one, although maybe a tad on the expensive side. But Ritsu Doan was by far and away Freiburg's most consistent attacking player last season, and deserves all the due credit. Rune, how do you think he's going to go in a new setup? Under Dino Topmoller, in a Frankfurt side, no doubt that is wanting to keep on improving under him. One that will no doubt have to think how well they're going to reinvest their money that they've received from the Hugo Ekitike transfer to Liverpool. So what do you imagine his fantasy chances are this season?
Yeah, pretty good, at least a bit into the season, because you never know, he might need a bit of time to settle in. Not sure he'll be coming straight into the starting lineup. We'll have to see about that. If Knauf will maybe get one start, get the first start, and then Doan will be an impact player from the bench from the beginning. That could be a possibility. But based on last season, it should be an excellent player for them, and I'll be looking forward to watching the new Frankfurt play. Doan playing with Bahoya and Burkhardt, I think that they have a lot of potential together. That trio. So looking forward to watching him play, but he's not a player I'm considering from the start of the season, just because I need to see how he'll do in the beginning and how much time he needs to settle in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that question. Elon, Stephen just asking how many subs are you allowed each week? So if it's not a international week, it'll be five subs that you're allowed to refresh your team every week. So hopefully that's enough for you, Stephen, to shape your team after obviously match week 1, which you can make unlimited subs up to the point of our season opener, which is obviously Bayern versus Leipzig. So thank you for that question. Jacob asking, what do you think about Pascal Gross, given his current importance to this Dortmund team? Good question there, Rune. And Dortmund, a team never far away from the news, especially in the Bundesrepublik. Obviously, their player incomings and outgoings is something that myself and Mar discussed last week on our first show of this season. We weren't overly impressed, but therefore, exactly as Jacob says, maybe it really heightens the importance of Gross in this team, and then also potentially from a fantasy point of view as well.
Yeah, I think he's the kind of player where you just know he'll get a solid amount of points every week just by making passes, a bit like Angelo Stiller from Stuttgart. He may not be involved in that many goals. I mean, sure, he'll get to make some assists, but his importance is, I mean, he's important in the way that he's just a very solid passer. Gets to make a lot of those simple passes, and also, of course, has the ability to pick out like a key pass and set up a teammate. He also has that in his locker. So just a very solid player, and I think one that should pick up like 150, 200 points most weeks. So he has a very, very high floor, but also I'd say his ceiling is probably a bit limited. He's not the kind of player, that's what I meant earlier, who will get 2 goals in a game, like you can imagine Vincenzo Grifo do, for example. That's not what you expect from him, but I think he's a player you can just put in your team, and then he'll perform pretty solidly week after week, as long as he plays, of course. At the moment, it looks like he's nailed on to start, and then we have Sabitzer and Mecha competing for this spot alongside him. But that could change, of course, as the season progresses. But that's how it looks now, and that makes him attractive, of course.
Yeah, completely agree. Although, I think there one game last season where he somehow got 4 assists in the same game.
Yeah, true.
The thing is, the same game that Guirassy got 4 goals when they just destroyed. They destroyed Union Berlin or someone like that, I think, off the top of my head. But yeah, that's the one thing that comes to mind. Good question though, Jacob. Thank you for that one. Let's come to a couple more that are coming in, and then we'll get onto our strikers and finish off tonight's show. So this one is in from Samu, and can you suggest some cheap enablers as a third forward and a fourth or fifth defender, also a second goalkeeper? Thank you for the session. It's my first season, really excited. So, well, thank you very much for joining us, and really good luck ahead of your first season playing Bundesliga Fantasy. I hope you have a great time playing, and hopefully tuning into our shows as well. Hopefully we've covered the second goalkeeper for you. And if not, we covered it a little bit earlier on in the show if you weren't watching. So potentially someone like a Peretz as an option for 1.1 million is a great option as a second goalkeeper. To someone say like a Ramage. Then for the fourth and fifth defenders, we didn't get into that in great detail. Obviously, Rune, we went through your picks. Do you have any 1 million defenders in mind, or is it just going to be pluck them just to fill the bench?
No, I don't have. I mean, Luka Jakis from Stuttgart looks like he'll start at the moment ahead of Jelsch. Rune recently said that Jakis is just a bit ahead of Jelsch at the moment. I think he's 2.3 million. So he's a good option. Let's see if he starts in the Super Cup. I assume so, actually, based on preseason. But obviously, there's a lot of Rune likes to rotate his central defense a lot. So not a nailed on long term option, but nevertheless a good option for the price. I think if you can spend a little more, I think Jan Kauso, as we mentioned, at 5.5 million, I think. It's a great option now that Süle is injured. Then you have someone like Christian Günther at 5.7 million for Freiburg. But let's see if he starts ahead of Makengo. That's not completely given, actually. I think he will, but yeah, at the weekend in the cup, if Günther starts there, then you can assume that he'll also start the first Bundesliga game of the season. Then that price is quite low. I also think Matthias Ginter from Freiburg as well, just a bit more expensive, but also I think it's 6.6 million or something like that. That Ginter is priced at. That's way too low, actually, for someone like Ginter. So he's also a good option if you want to have another defender at the back. If Lienhardt costs 6.3 million, he's a pretty solid option too. I think.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll come to the third board in a second for you as well on that question. And Tyler asking, thoughts on Lienhardt at 6.3 for Freiburg. Yeah, Rune. Another potential cheaper alternative to put into your back line, especially maybe if you're playing back four potentially as well.
Sure. Good. I mean, he's in the same price category as Ginter, and probably costs a bit less, but I'd probably go with Ginter. But quite low price for him as well.
Yeah. And always a good player. Of course, being Freiburg centre half, being good, in both set piece options, defensively and offensively, getting on the end of corners and things like that for sure. Then a comment and question in from Abdullah. I hope you're doing well and enjoying the show. What about Nabel for midfielder, Kwanzaa, Nkuku, and Flecken? So a couple of players mentioned there. Rune, Nabel, really great option, I think, from a Mainz point of view. Really had a breakout season last season. We enjoyed watching him and covering him on the show. So absolutely an interesting pickup there. Kwanzaa, Nkuku for defenders. I think Quansah's an interesting one to talk about. Obviously, new incoming from the Prem, from Liverpool, to see how he goes. Obviously, in the Leverkusen setup, and then obviously and then Flecken as a goalkeeper. I presume his price will be slightly higher. I can't remember what his price is, but Rune, all 4 mentions there from Abdullah are interesting ones. I think Nkunku as well, maybe from a defensive point of view, be an interesting one because he's a player that gets forward quite a lot as well.
Yeah, I think Nebel is a great player, and he had an excellent last season. Also did really well at the under 21 Euros. So I'm interested to see if he can keep it up. This will be the potentially difficult second season for Mainz and some of their key players. And I think his price is probably a bit too high for me. If you look at the alternatives in the same price category, someone like Grifo is cheaper. For example, Kevin Stöger, Frank Honorat, they're all cheaper. Leon Goretzka is almost 3 million cheaper as well, and he'll definitely start in central midfield for Bayern.
Yeah.
So I think too many Gross, 9.6 million is a lot cheaper as well. So his prices maybe a bit too high this year for me, at least from the start of the season. And regarding the defensive picks from Leverkusen, not that keen on them actually. Having watched them play a bit in preseason. As I said earlier, I think I'm going to wait and see how things go with them, how the new signings settle in. I can see them concede a few goals from the start of the season. That wouldn't surprise me. So not really that keen. And with Nkunku, I don't think he'll start actually. I know Brown is a doubt for the first match day, probably won't play there, but it would surprise me if Nkunku played. I think it'll be Teate at left back and then Collins moving into central defense. But he would be the alternative. The alternative would be to play Teate in central defense alongside Koch, and then Nkunku would play at left back. But then again, it would probably only be for the first match day. But if he starts in the cup, could be a good short-term punt. But that's not what I expect.
Yeah, absolutely. Elon, we're going to talk strikers in 1 minute. So yeah, we'll get that question asked to you. And yeah, very right to say that there aren't as many dominant strikers this season. The departures so far. Tyler mentioning some nice price points for Bakayoko and Nusa. Obviously, Bakayoko, a new summer arrival for RBL. And yeah, we will come to that one as well. And another mention, Tyler saying that maybe Leverkusen will do some rotation, maybe taking out Tapsoba for a potentially incoming Bade as well. So let's get on to the strikers, and then we'll be able to finish off this brilliant first draft of the season, which really been great fun so far. And time has just flown by, really has. So strikers, Rune, pretty self-explanatory, is on screen for you all to have a quick look at. But just give us maybe a couple of highlights as to why you've picked those 2 premium strikers and that are 1 million forward.
Yeah, I think they're by far the best picks up front. Guirassy and Kane. They're just at a different level compared to the other strikers in the league. I think if I had to consider a third one, it would probably be Patrick Schick, who I expect to take on even more responsibility for Leverkusen this season. He's just signed a new contract, and his role in the team will be bigger, I think, under Ten Hag than it was under Alonso. So yeah, he also has a lot to offer, but not as much of these guys. But they will be. I mean, both Guirassy and Kane will be scoring so many goals that I couldn't leave one of them out. So the only question is who to start each week. That will be the tough choice up front for me. But they're both pretty self-explanatory. Those 2 guys, and then I've gone with the 1 million player just because, as Elon writes in his comment, not that many alternatives, premium alternatives, apart from Schick, the way I see it at the moment. Yeah, sure, Bakayoko and Nusa. The prices are quite low, but they're listed as forwards, which is a shame because they could just as well be midfielders. They're similar to a lot of other midfielders in the game, and also, of course, they are playing Bayern in the opener, which is not too appealing. But yeah, not that many other good picks up front, I think. Then we have some cheap ones that I wanted to mention. If you want to have like a backup striker or go with 3 forwards, I would probably go for one of the cheaper picks like Tabakovic from Gladbach, who they've signed on loan from Hoffenheim. Potentially Matanovic from Freiburg. If he starts, I think he'll play from the start of the season with Höhler playing behind him. That's how I expect him to line up. His price is really low too, so they have a lot of potential, both of them, and great opening schedules. So if you want to play with 3 forwards or have a backup striker, those 2 guys could be worth a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Some good mentions there, premium and otherwise. It's just exciting to see who are those strikers that are going to come out of the woodwork and be our nailed on, players in weeks and months to come. Be interesting to see who really breaks through the season. It's always really exciting to see those players that come through and have low price points and then maybe really pick up with these new rules. Mention from Abdullah mentioning Florian Dietz. Started a few matches with Cologne 2 years ago. Is he still an option for a 1 million forward? So that's good question there from Abdullah. Just as as an enabler, maybe a player that you could pop in as an extra for the newly promoted Billy Goats. So that's a good question there. And then just covering off as well. A question about Keke Top. Obviously, Werder, have lost their talisman Rune in the shape of Dusk. So that's a really interesting option as to what happens with them. Obviously, Ollie Burke's moved on as well. So Werder looking a little bit light up top. So what do you reckon to Keke Top and Florian Dietz?
I think Werder will eventually sign Andres Silva, re-sign him from Leipzig. That seems to be the clear plan. But if he doesn't arrive in time for the first match day, then kick it up. It's pretty much their only option. So then he'll probably get the chance. Doesn't seem that well suited for the way Steffen wants to play. If you look at how we played with Elversberg, at least, it's a bit more like a stationary, like typical center forward, kick it up, where I think you'd probably prefer to have someone with a bit more technical ability. But as I said, at the moment, I think he has a good chance of starting if Werder don't sign another striker before the season begins. I think that's what they are aiming for, though. And with Florian Dietz, I don't think he really has a chance of playing that much. Too many players in front of him. I think there are other forwards I'd rather go with, but they don't cost 1 million. I think someone like Sahiti from HSV is probably closer to playing time. I think he could start as a winger though, but he may start, and I think he costs like maybe around 3 million or something like that. So he's probably the cheapest starting player up front if you want a cheap one. At least how I remember it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Billy Goats picked up a great preseason result over the weekend, didn't they? They smashed 4 past. Who do they smash 4 past?
Atalanta, I think.
Atalanta, that's it. Yeah, great result for them. It's given me some thoughts about when we do our big prediction show in a week's time. Lovely stuff. And then just very quickly, just to finish off then, as it's been rounding up to an hour, is it okay to keep a 1 million forward who doesn't even play? So as a last bench option, very much kind of what we're hinting at right now. So to the way that Rune has kind of walked you through this draft this evening is kind of to go heavy on starting players and then have a bench more or less full of 1 million players.
Yeah, the way I see it, if you have both Guirassy and Kane in your starting in your team, then you'll probably have to play with 3 strikers for it to make sense to have a third striker. Because, I mean, yeah, it can be good to have a bench player, but would have to outscore either Kane or Guirassy for him to be relevant to your team. So if you're going to roll with a 3-5-2, I'd be comfortable enough about having a 1 million player on the bench. The alternative would be to go with a 3-4-3, for example, and then you could bring in someone like Matanovic if it looks like he'll start, or Tabakovic as a cheap third option, for example. Or you could go with someone like Patrick Schick for around 11 million, I think, if you want the 3 premium strikers. But if you're wrong with a 2 striker system, I think you don't need to have that third option on the bench. I'd rather spend that money elsewhere.
Precisely that. Lovely stuff. That's fantastic. So that very much rounds us up for this evening. It's been a pleasure to kickstart our fantasy football content for this season. Really looking forward to growing our community, our brilliant community, and having an awesome season. So thank you to everyone that's tuned in tonight. Whether you've just watched and sat back and absorbed it all, thank you for all the brilliant questions and interaction as well. It really helps us to shape our shows. Thank you to Rune for presenting this awesome draft as well for us. So just to close up and say all the usuals. So make sure you check us and Bulinews out on all socials, where obviously we'll be announcing different shows and things like that. We're hoping to do a show this coming Thursday as well. We'll obviously promote that as and when it's coming out. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Also remember just to like, comment, and sub to the channel. If you're not watching this live, you still got plenty of time. Me and Rune wanted to get this in before various schedules got a bit messy. So you've got pretty much 2 full weeks to get your team ready. Comment along. Me and Rune will manage the comment section in the next few weeks and try and get through questions. So don't be shy, get your questions in, and turn on those notifications for all the content coming. Just another final shout out before we finish off for the evening, in and around our great friends and partners / sponsors for this season, which is Covert Football Trips, who are giving very generously a special code in association with us at the Bundesliga show. So if you pop in discount code TBS50 at checkout, you will get yourself a special discount on German mystery weekends, £50 off. So make sure you make the most of this brilliant offer whilst it's still going. If you head over to the website in the description of this video, you will make absolutely certain that you get yourself an awesome weekend over in Germany, the home of brilliant football. So that's it. Thank you everyone for tuning in with us this evening. It's been great fun, and we will catch you on the next show. Thanks all. Thank you, Rune. Good night again.
Bye.